I was blessed with the home I grew up in, and I just always assumed that children were surrounded by safety and love. And when I got out into the big wide world and realized that that wasn't the case, it just seemed that had to be my job, was to make sure that kids had safe places to grow so that they could realize their God-given potential. It almost wasn't a choice. HomeFront's started by giving meals to people living in motel rooms. We gave out, in one year we gave out over 300,000 meals, and the meals were prepared in people's kitchens and in their church. Just an incredible army of volunteers preparing those meals. And it was a good and right thing, and we could provide a little bit of support for the kids, taking them out. But it became real clear that if we were really going to change the trajectory of people's lives, they needed to be living in a place that had some dignity to it. They needed to have services wrapped around them. It couldn't be done in those grim motel rooms. So our HomeFront's board of directors took a very brave step and signed a lease for a facility at the Katzenbach School for the Deaf, an old dorm. We made it work at that facility, but our folks needed more. We needed a wonderful facility that we owned so that we could make it welcoming and dignified, and so that it could embrace our clients and embrace our programming. This was a military base. This was the ugliest damn building you've ever seen. 5 little windows in the entire building. But we knew we could make it into something wonderful. So we spent 7 years going through the hoops that we needed to go through in order to get custody of the building. Very happy day in my life. And then we had to raise $6 million in order to retrofit it. It worked. It worked. Celia Bernstein is responsible for much of the beauty of this building. It was her vision and her tenacity that got this into a wonderful space.
Connie and I have been together for 25 years plus. We brought HomeFront from a 5-person agency with a budget of about $300,000 to 125-person agency with $10 million budget. It has been a ride. Connie and I took this ride together. She is most gracious in any time she's ever speaking and giving me credit for taking that ride with her. And that is appreciated. And it's true. You can't do a ship of that size all on your own. And for whatever reason, divine providence put us together for us to be able to bring it forward to the place where it can succeed as it is for today. And again, I'm grateful for her giving me that opportunity. I mean, she is not only at this point, my boss, because she is, she's also my friend, and she knows that. And if I'm not gonna cry on this TV screen, but I love her, and she knows that. And I have been through, many personal endeavors with her, and I'm happy to have done so. But this professional ride that we've taken together, I think has made a difference, and I'm grateful.
This playground was built because all the Rotarians of Mercer County came together and raised the money, and one of the happiest days I've had in this work was watching our families out on those grounds working side by side with bank presidents and mayors to make sure that there would be a wonderful place for our kids to play. I had my own boy very late in life. And it was I'd lost 13 babies before I had him. So when it was time for him to go to daycare, I was incredibly reluctant. So I went out and I literally visited 25 different daycares, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't leave my Michael with any of those. But I went to one rather not as fancy as some of the other places, kind of out of desperation, and I walked in the door, and I saw this wonderful woman with the kids, and I saw how she acknowledged each child when they came in. I saw how she just knew what each and every one needed, and I realized that I could leave Michael with her, that she would be a wonderful helper as we raised our boy. And when it was time for HomeFront to establish a daycare center, I went and I stole Shanika from the daycare program, and we started our daycare.
I met Connie when I think I was like 19 years old. When I first met her, I was working at another child care center. Not really sure, had been to college, had some college, not really sure what it was. That was my calling, what it was that I really, really wanted to do. And she called me up one day and she says, you know, we're having this Easter egg hunt for some of the kids who are living in motels, and they're with a bunch of big wigs from XYZ company, and we think they might need some help, you know, with people who have more experience in childcare and working with this little people. I was still stuck on kids living in motels, because this is something, although I had grown up in Trenton, lived in Trenton, I did not know that homelessness existed, because in my mind, a homeless person was someone that you saw on the street, right? That was my definition of you literally had no place to live, to rest your head. So the idea of having families live in motels, that I had no idea. So of course I went, had a great time. On our way back, she told me, you know, she had picked me up and drove me home, and she's telling me about what her vision is and how she wants to start a program, a preschool program for these children. I thought, oh my gosh. I just followed. I thought it was such an amazing idea, something that, you know, who didn't want to be a part of anything like that? 2 weeks later, I left my job, and there we were at the Prince of Peace Lutheran Church, starting this program for these little people. What is Connie? I think she's amazing. You know, year after year, step by step, it started from this humble child care program, and I believe when we started, we were just 2 to 3 days a week, part-time, to a thriving, you know, full-time summer camp program, 5 days a week, a bustle of volunteers to help support us, a bustle of other programs to support us, in addition to the many other programs that HomeFront has. I mean, that to me is just amazing, and how you can just visualize all of those things, you know, and see a need, and somehow manage to gather up the people to help you fulfill that need for a population of people that most of us didn't even know existed.
My first real job after college, as I was working on my master's, was running a group home for disturbed delinquent kids in Toronto. Then we set up a network of group homes across northern Ontario. Got hung in effigy in a place called Kenora, where we were trying to establish a group home for mostly Indian kids. And it wasn't enough that they had me hanging in effigy. They started to burn me too, which was... So after that, nothing else looked too hard, you know? And then I ran something called the Interstate Consortium on Residential Child Care, which was a consortium that set up licensing standards for residential care facilities in 19 states, which is all these 35 years later, 40 years later, still has real impact on how kids get cared for. It's work I'm very proud of. And then I went to Illinois and was the deputy director for program operations for the child welfare system for a number of years. I always had a side job. My husband is a farmer, and as a farmer's wife, they're just things that you've got to be available for.
When I first met Connie, she was interviewing me, and she was very intimidating, and it was pouring rain that day. It was like torrential rain, and we were sitting in her office, and her husband called, Howard, and she, excused herself, was very apologetic, but it's like, he never calls me when I'm at work. So he got stuck in the mud. He's a farmer, so he got stuck in the mud at a farm that he was taking care of, and she had to go to get him out. So she's, instead of saying like, let's postpone this, or, so sorry, she's like, get in my car and let's go together. So torrential rain, Connie and I, never met this woman in my life. And through that meeting, again, like she was still very intimidating, but through it, I was like, oh, I do want to work here, I had kind of applied to a bunch of jobs just out of college, like everybody does, and not knowing if this is really something that I wanted to pursue. And after that, it was just a genuine conversation, I've learned so much through Connie and, just the person she is. I mean, she's taught me all about everything I need to know about really fundraising and getting the community involved and being strategic, managing your time. She'll always say, and I'll always say this because of her, is that the best use of your time? Is that the best and highest use of your time, And now I say that to like my family, and they probably resent me for it. But she's taught me everything that I really know about my career.
The most important thing, I think, is to not see our homeless families as other, as different. They are our neighbors. They are the folks who take care of our parents when they are in nursing homes. They are the people who staff our daycare. They are the folks who greet us at the Wawas. And to know that we've got a shared responsibility, and to make sure that the political leaders in the community know that it matters. I go back to that theme. When I was challenged so many years ago to fix it in our community, I thought that we had a communications problem, that if anyone knew there were hungry homeless kids in our community, they wouldn't allow it. 31 years later, I still believe there's a communications problem. That if people only knew, if they only allowed themselves to know, might be a more accurate way to put it, that the problem would resolve itself in a better way. The most important thing that you can do if you're going to be successful in this field is to never forget your why. And as you become an administrator, not to get caught up in the rising costs of health insurance and in the difficulty of dealing with government bureaucracy. Not to have that totally overtake you, but to always remember the why. Each and every day at the bottom of my planner, there's a line that says, "Did you do something today that made the life of a homeless family better?" That's my anchor question, and that's what I always go back to.
I was interviewing somebody recently for a job at HomeFront, and they said, what makes someone successful here? And without hesitating, I told them, you have to be passionate about our work. It's that culture of what the client needs comes first, and we're going to listen to the clients too and hear what they need. It's not what Sarah thinks they need or what Connie thinks they need. It's what the clients themselves are articulating that they want and dream about for themselves and for their children. I think what she did so brilliantly was galvanize the community, right? This isn't a small band of do-gooders who are employed by HomeFront who go out and change the world. We have amazing staff. They do amazing things.
I'm grateful for the incredible staff people who I've had the privilege to work with. We never were able to pay our staff what they deserved. Yes, it's my passion, but it's also my staff's passion. It's the only way that they, over the years, could have put in so much for so many.
There's just so many different things that makes you feel good about doing your work here.
Giving the kids, something to hope for.
Not just what you see all of the staff doing and helping the clients and moving the clients to success, but they come back.
We've even had people come back, and sometimes they were kids at the time in the program, and now they're adults, and they say things like, you know, if it wasn't for you all, I wouldn't be here right now.
You know, and the clients come back and want to be a part of HomeFront in a positive way, and you see the difference that you've made.
Giving the kids some positivity and just some activity, just, you know, things that are just things that make kids is probably one of the utmost important aspects of what we do.
I'm grateful for the incredible army of volunteers and donors who came forward and said, yeah, we want to be part of this.
It's the dedication to the people we serve, and more importantly, probably, to the people who work at our agencies and how they provide that service. That passion is not about let someone in the door, get someone a hot meal, get them into the campus, get them into services. It's about how we treat them through that process.
Connie has given me the opportunity through my work in producing documentary films. She's given me the opportunity to interview some of the most amazing people, families and children of families that she has helped along the way. And to meet these people and to hear these stories is just heartwarming, and it highlights the passion that Connie has brought to her life's work.
I remember years ago, Connie really had the vision to start the Mercer Alliance to End Homelessness. And I was one of the first board members there. The 3 or 4 of us, you know, signing the incorporation papers. And that was in Connie's conference room on Princeton Pike, and I can see myself there. So she is an icon for this county and having really initiated a lot of efforts to help homeless families and individuals. Connie Mercer is the face of caring for the homeless in Mercer County. She's the face, to me, who is so impacted by children, especially that are homeless, to being so dedicated and passionate to make that her life's mission, to care for those people.
Connie Mercer is not someone that you say no to. You find a way to assist and help Connie Mercer in terms of what she has done in the community.
She has an outstanding staff who will do whatever she needs them to do in order for HomeFront to fulfill its mission.
HomeFront started 31 years ago as a tiny acorn, and now it has grown into a mighty oak, and that is due to Connie Mercer being at the helm. She may be stepping down from HomeFront, but she's not stepping away from the people who need her most.
So what can people do to help? Oh, there's so many things that they can do. They can volunteer. They can make birthday cakes for our homeless kids, because every kid should be able to celebrate a birthday. They can come and tutor, not just our kids, but our adults who are trying to get their high school equivalencies. They can donate a car. Every time we get a car in working condition, we change a life. They can, perhaps most importantly, let their various people in their community who make public policy know that there has to be a way for homeless kids to lead a life where they can maximize themselves and their possibilities. They can donate funds. In this kind of program, there's never enough money to do all the things that you want to do. They can help us dream about what the next steps are. They can help us find the appropriate place to put 3-4 units of quality, affordable housing. There's so many ways, so many ways. If anybody wants to get involved, it is HomeFront's secret sauce. We know how to capture the caring of the community and turn it into something that will make a difference. You asked, what do I want people to know about HomeFront? I want them to know that our approach works. I want them to know that we don't just put a roof over people's heads, but that we remove the barriers that get in the way of people's self-sufficiency. Our holistic wraparound way of doing business means that folks have a shot at a good future. I'm very proud of that.